Hi guys, it's Vaughan here from Body Complete, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes today sharing a little bit around recovery and its importance. Most importantly today, we're going to cover the hierarchy of recovery and how you guys can make that more applicable in your lifestyle. And then I'm going to break down the individual kind of components of that hierarchy and kind of go through a quick list of things. And then lastly, I really want to touch on recovery bars, the more recent thing you've probably seen around where they have saunas and spas and all sorts of other tools at your disposal to help with your recovery. When I talk about recovery, what I'm talking about is the ability to feel better for your next training session or at the end of the week so that you can actually make progress in your results. Whether it's weight loss, whether it's trying to become better at the weekend on your sport, or whether you're an athlete full-time trying to get those 1% gains on a day-to-day basis. The number one thing when it comes to recovery is organizing a maximal recoverable volume, sometimes often referred to as maximal training volume. This is relatively simple in terms of what it is. It's your ability to recover from everything that you've done. And if you do too much, then you're going to find it hard to recover from that. Second in the hierarchy is your passive recovery. Things such as sleep and general rest and managing stress, both psychological and physical, that you've gone through. Third on the list is your active recovery, and I'm actually going to put nutrition in line with this as well. So these things will incorporate stuff such as stretching and food, and we'll cover that again, like I said, after we've finished the hierarchy. At the top of the pyramid, or the last thing in terms of recovery, is your therapeutics and your supplements and what role they'll play. So let's spend a few minutes quickly breaking down each one so that you guys can get a better understanding and understand why I put them in this particular order of importance. The maximal recoverable volume is, as I said, or max training volume, as I said at the beginning there, is simply put, just being able to recover from what you've done. If you do too much, it can get harder to recover from, and that can slowly compound until you end up breaking down and getting too tired to train, or potentially injuring yourself as well. So how do you know if you are doing too much? Pretty simply, you'll start to notice some obvious signs. Your performance will drop. For example, you'll feel weaker, you'll feel slower, you'll probably start to get aches and some pains in joints that are just not really going away. And you'll find that you'll start to get little niggles that as well probably aren't going away. Best thing you can do at this point is to actually take a deload week where you reduce the volume by anywhere up to sort of 40% on your total training for that week, or even take a week off, or at least sort of 4 or 5 days of full rest to see if that is what is causing some of these aches and pains. And if not, then it might be worth seeking additional help from a professional. Your passive recovery, as I said, is sort of around sleep and stress, which often go hand in hand. I'm sure after a sleepless night, you can often feel a lot more stressed than you may intend going into your day, and maybe a bit more irritable. But a good bet, particularly for anyone who's training to get better at their lifting and their training and their sport, as well as weight loss, is to get at least 7 hours each night, preferably 8 plus some. Now, sleep is what affects a lot of your hormones. And when it comes to weight loss, you want better control over your ghrelin, which supports your hunger suppression, and a bit more control over your cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which often leads to you wanting to overeat in the first place and satisfying it with dopamine-inducing foods. But from the other end of the thing, sleep also gives your body an actual chance to repair. And if you're not in bed long enough, or at least lying still long enough, your body doesn't get a chance to slow down and repair all the damage you've done throughout the day with all the training volume you've done. So third on the list of our hierarchy is active recovery and nutrition, which hold equal value but for kind of different reasons in what they're doing. Your active recoveries are things such as stretching, infrared saunas, you're looking at going for a swim, an easy swim I should say, or cold water therapy, getting in and kind of flushing the body, or even an easy walk along the esplanade to kind of just de-stress the body from the volume you've done. Your nutrition is more around the idea of making sure you're actually getting enough food in to accommodate the amount of exercise you're doing. And if you're working on weight loss, this is a different conversation about how that looks and what that works. But if you're training to be an athlete or you're training to see improvement in gains, basically if you don't eat enough food, your body can't repair and recover, and your performance will be hindered. It's also a little bit about timing. The number one thing is really just replacing carbohydrates at the end of a training session so your body and your mental capacity and stress can recover a lot quicker. Usually within a 15 to 30 minute window is ideal to get a little bit of carbohydrates in. And this is where the science behind Gatorade, despite it being a sugary drink, kind of comes around. So just to summarize that real quick, stretching, walking, swimming, infrared saunas, massage, parts of active recovery that are going to help you, yes, recover better, but aren't the most important things. And your nutrition is more about making sure you get enough food in to accommodate for how much energy you've expended. as well as the timing of that food so that you can actually replenish the body at the right time. Lastly on our hierarchy is the therapeutics and supplement side of things. Now, unfortunately, for a lot of people, this is where they first go for their recovery. They start to look at things like protein shakes and creatine and L-carnitine in terms of the supplements, and they start looking at, oh, maybe they should be getting these cryotherapies and these massage guns and the latest gadget to get better. But if you aren't getting your maximum recoverable volume correct, not getting enough sleep, you're not spending a little bit of time each week stretching and each week on your nutrition, each day I should say on your nutrition, then those therapeutics and those supplements are going to do next to nothing to help you with recovery, and you're just kind of flushing money down the toilet. There are so many supplements out there that do actually have phenomenal benefits, and I listed some of them just a second ago, and you see athletes all the time taking them, and some even spruiking them as part of their sponsorship deals, and that's really awesome, but you need to look at the whole picture of what they're doing in their training as an overall volume. So in summary, you need to make sure you aren't overtraining, you need to make sure you're getting enough sleep, you need to make sure that there is some degree of recovery. We're looking at about 15 minutes for every hour of training that you do, spent stretching or massage or cooling down in the water, and also getting the timing of your food right. And then we're looking at adding supplements at the very tip of the spear. You wouldn't progress someone straight to Olympic lifts without getting a basic understanding of deadlift, squatting and pressing, and really good foundational movements, because that would just be silly, because they wouldn't be able to achieve the best that they could possibly achieve in those Olympic lift movements. This is the same when it comes to recovery and getting the most out of your training. You can always reach out if you want more help. Please send us a message here at Body Complete. If you have my number, you can also reach out via text. I just wanted to finish quickly on a quick discussion around the concept of recovery bars. Now, recovery bars are fantastic, but they fall into the same category as your therapeutics and your supplements. They are the tip of the spear. Unless you are making sure you're not overtraining, getting enough sleep, you're getting your active recovery on point, and making sure that your range of motion is always in good stead, you're eating all the right foods at the right times, then there's no point going to these recovery bars and spending $150 on an hour and a half trying to get yourself to feel better, because they do something but not enough to make up for all the rest. I hope this has been super helpful, and as I said before, please, if you have any extra questions, reach out.